All right, so the Zion Williamson situation hasn't drawn much attention from the NBA media throughout the season, but CJ McCollum raised some eyebrows when he went on the TNT Crew show with Charles Barkley inside the NBA with Shaq and Kenny Smith, as well as Ernie Johnson. And he was up there during All-Star Weekend, and he said he hadn't spoke to Zion Williamson since being traded. Now you have JJ Redick coming out on ESPN's First Take and saying that Zion is a detached teammate. And he's saying that he has personal encounters with Zion Williamson from his time in New Orleans and that Zion wasn't really tapping in like that. And let me just say this, it's not really a surprise. I don't get what all the commotion is. I don't get what the big deal is about this. Once you open up the floodgates where players don't have to honor their contracts or they can force trades or they can go from this team to that team, they have, the power and free agency to go here, go there. Once those things open up, guys are going to do what they want to do. And a lot of people are acting like, well, since he's a rookie or since he needs to honor his rookie deal at least, or he doesn't have any sweat equity in the NBA per se. But when Zion Williamson, when it comes to name, he's right up there with Anthony Davis or right up there with Paul George. Like, people know who Zion Williamson is. He's a main attraction in the NBA. He's an A-lister. And CJ McCollum and JJ Redick, CJ McCollum is a good player. JJ Redick was a good player when he played in the NBA. He was a contributor, a great shooter for winning teams that went to the playoffs. But, these guys are they're like B-, C+ listers in the NBA. Zion Williamson is an A lister. If Zion Williamson was playing, the Pelicans would be on national TV. They would be playing on Christmas Day. They would get attention like that because he's a main attraction. He sells for the league. He's one of the main guys in the NBA just off name. So he has star power. And as a star, he's going to utilize his star power to get what he wants. And there's nothing anybody's really going to be able to do about it. He wants out of New Orleans, and that's what's going to happen. He's going to get his way. We've seen it time and time again. And he's going to find a way out of New Orleans. And he's probably going to get to go to the destination that he wants to go to, which is New York. I believe that he'll end up with the Knicks. And Julius Randle's play has made it a possibility. Julius Randle struggling this year after having a great year last year. His struggles this season have opened up that door for Zion Williamson to come to New York. He loves his boy R.J. Barrett. He's already said he loves playing in Madison Square Garden. Everybody knows the Garden is the mecca. New York is the mecca of basketball. So he wants to go play over there, and he's a star on and off the court, and he wants to become a bigger one, and New York's the perfect place for that. And he could plug right in, taking Julius Randle's spot at power forward. And Julius Randle could go to New Orleans and play alongside Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum and Valanciunas. And that's a good fit for him as well. I believe he played in New Orleans before. So that's a good fit for both guys. Both teams win with that. And if you're the Knicks, why wouldn't you ship Emmanuel Quickley or Obi Toppin in that package? I mean, the bench in New York is what's been winning them games. The Knicks play better when they have their bench unit out there. The starters have been ass this season. It's been the bench. If you watch New York Knicks basketball, it's been the bench that has been carrying that team. Anytime they play well, it's the bench unit. So if you're just going to be keeping those guys on the bench or not playing them, why not include a Cam Reddish or Emmanuel Quickley or Obi Toppin? Why not include them in the package with Julius Randle? Why not just throw in a draft pick or something? Why not just send a package, a haul over to New Orleans and get Zion Williamson? He wants to play for you guys. He wants to play. He'd be playing right now. If he was on the Knicks, he'd be playing right now. He'd be suiting up. So he wants to play. He would be alongside R.J. Barrett. You guys have good centers. Mitchell Robinson can get the job done as a shot blocker and a rebounder, and you just build around that. Maybe the Knicks aren't going to be a championship team, but, it would at least get the fans on their side because the fans are turning on the Knicks right now. The fans in New York are going back to the old ways when they would cheer for the other team louder than they would cheer for the Knicks. That's what it's turning into because Randle's struggling so much. So Stephen A. Smith and JJ Redick are going to talk about Zion Williamson, and I'll chime in.
Says he still hasn't spoken to Zion since being traded to New Orleans. I haven't had conversations with him directly. I've spoken with some people close to him and look forward to sitting down with him sooner than later. I know about as much as you do right now, but I'm getting to the bottom of it.
There's just not much to get to the bottom of. What are you going to get to the bottom of, dude? He doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to JJ Redick. He doesn't want to talk to you because, to be honest, like I said, you guys are like C plus, B minus listers. Zion Williamson is an A lister. He doesn't want to be in New Orleans, so why is he going to really be talking to you guys if he doesn't even really care to be there? Like, he's not trying to be a leader of that franchise. He's not trying to play the good guy role. He's trying to get out of there. So because he's trying to get out of there, he doesn't really care what role players come in and out of the franchise in the meantime, in and out the organization in the meantime. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if JJ Redick's there for the last season of his career. Like, JJ, like, it's unfortunate that they traded you there even though you didn't want to be there, but like, what does that have to do with Zion? He doesn't care. He's trying to get out. Like, Zion's not talking to CJ McCollum because he doesn't think him and CJ are ever going to get on the court together. There's not much to get to the bottom of.
JJ, is this something or nothing?
It's nothing. Like, we've seen this time and time again. He's going to get out of New Orleans. So it's nothing as far as like, is Zion a bad guy or whatever? It's just the way that the NBA is. It's a player-friendly league. The NBA has branded itself as being like player first. And that's just what's going on here. So Zion's not a bad guy, or he's not any different from any of these other NBA stars. He's just, he's pushing his line a little bit earlier than other star players would. Let's just leave it at that.
This is definitely something. Actually, this is a little bit insane to me. There's a general sort of...
It's not that insane, dude. I just broke it down. It's pretty simple. JJ Redick does a great job, though. I think JJ Redick pairs with Stephen A. Smith really well when they talk about basketball. But he's just off on this one.
Decorum of behavior that you should apply as a teammate. Look, I wasn't the best player on any team I was on. But if there was a buyout possibility, if there was a trade possibility, I would always reach out to team. I called Ersan Ilyasova. I called Marco. I called Wes Matthews trying to get him to come to Philly. Like, this just shows a complete lack of investment in your team, in the organization, in the city. I get that he's hurt and away from the team.
Dude, you're putting it on thick and you're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. He just doesn't care. He doesn't want to be there, and he's going to get out. And you can't really compare yourself to Zion Williamson because you've never been in this situation before, JJ. You've never been the face of a franchise trying to leave that franchise. Like, you're speaking as a role player. So you guys aren't on the same plane.
But you just traded for one of the 50 best players in the league. A guy that's supposed to be paired with you. Reach out and say hello. This is a pattern of behavior with Zion that we are seeing again and again. And look, I was his teammate. I can describe him as a detached teammate. That is an accurate statement. This is basic.
Zion Williamson is at home and he watching this and he's like, JJ's calling him a detached teammate. Zion's looking at this. He's like, you're a weak teammate. You're a teammate I don't want to play with.
Level of humanity being a teammate. Send a text to a guy when he gets traded to your team. That is just normal behavior. That's the bar minimum that you have to do. And the Pelicans yesterday sent out an email.
He doesn't really have to do shit if he's planning on leaving. Why doesn't anybody realize he's leaving? He's not going to stay in New Orleans. He's getting his way.
For season tickets for next year. Guess who wasn't in the email? Whose name was not in the email? Zion's. Like, what the heck is going on in New Orleans, Stephen A.?
Dude, if you're revealing information that he wasn't in the email that was sent to the fans for next season, for next season's tickets, that means that they're planning on getting rid of him. They don't know the status, or they know that they're going to be getting rid of him. So they didn't include him in the package. Let me rewind that.
Yesterday sent out an email for season tickets for next year. Guess who wasn't in the email? Whose name was not in the email? Zion's. Like, what the heck is going on in New Orleans, Stephen A.?
If you're not in the email for season tickets for next year, you're probably not going to be on the team next year, JJ Redick. Did you think about that? He's getting traded.
They don't have you. They don't have somebody like you. That's number one, to answer your question directly. And just in the interest of full disclosure, while Molly is sitting here on the air, we're on national television, I've always had a lot of love and respect for J.J. Redick. The reason I say that up is because I remember one time he was with the Philadelphia 76ers and it was all playful or whatever, but he disagreed with a take. Little did I know that we'd be on the air together disagreeing on takes in the future. But
Little did you know he'd be busting your ass a couple times a week. JJ Redick be on here schooling Stephen A. Smith when it comes to basketball.
DJ Redick disagreed with a take that I had, Molly, and I don't remember what exactly it was about, but he jumped on me, and then Ben Simmons and others came along and they jumped on me. But they had something to say, and they came up to me and they said it. You see what I'm saying? And then I had to go on the air the next.
JJ looked like he about to cry because Zion ain't send him a text.
They'd be like, they had a point. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense, and it's just about the level of professionalism and decorum and just being men that you're speaking to that I've always respected, because I'm the type of person that if I say something publicly that's wrong and you show me that I'm wrong, I'm not going to apologize privately. I'll go on the air and acknowledge in that same public platform that I was wrong. And I just think that there's something to be said about professional decorum. And I think to some degree that's what you're talking about here, but you also are talking about an extra level of something, which is decency. You're absolutely right, JJ Redick. There is no disagreement here, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit more extensively on the point than you did by saying this. All Zion Williamson is doing is showing you that he don't want to be there. And David Griffin
Bingo. Finally got to the point.
needs to get with the program. Zion Williamson was praying that he was going to get drafted by the New York Knicks, that the New York Knicks would get the #1 overall pick when they ended up with the 3rd overall pick. He was praying that they were going to get #1 because he wanted to be at the Garden.
Bingo. Bingo. There we go. We're finally getting to it. And when he was asked about playing in the Garden, the dude was so happy. You could tell he wanted to play. He was talking so much about how fun it was to be out there. He's going to, like, I always knew he was going to find a way to get to the Knicks. I didn't know it would be this soon, but I thought he would honor out his contract and then go to the Knicks. But he's forcing his way. He's pushing his line, and he's going to get what he asked for.
He never, again, I've heard this, but certainly not from him. I'm not pretending that I have heard this from him, even though I've interviewed him a couple of times, and he's never, ever acknowledged that. I get it, but the bottom line is everybody knows he ain't interested in being in New Orleans. I believe if he were interested in being in New Orleans, he'd be on the court. Now, that's not to imply he's faking his injury.
Agreed. And just say it with your chest, Stephen A. He's faking his injury to an extent. I don't know how bad it is, but I'm sure if he really wanted to play, if he wanted to play for New Orleans, whether he would be rehabbing faster or he would be just taking it more serious, he'd probably be on the court right now if he wanted to play for that team. But because he doesn't want to play for that team, he's waiting it out. So I agree with you, Stephen A., but just call it for what it is. He's most likely ready to play and not playing for the team because he doesn't want to be there.
Or anything like that. It's to sit there and say the incentive matters. If you are incentivized to do something, you will crawl under every rock. You will turn over every rock. You will dot every T. You will cross every T. You will dot every I. You will do whatever it takes to get on the court. That's not what we're seeing from Zion Williamson. And if you're David Griffin, guess what? You know what? Alvin Gentry was once your coach, he's gone. Stan Van Gundy was once your coach, he's gone. Now you got Willie Green up in there. It don't matter. What you really need to focus on is finding a way to utilize Zion to get assets for him, to have people who want to play and want to be professional and want to be there. Because I think behind all of this,
that's where that Julius Randle trade comes in. You trade for Julius Randle, you put him alongside Ingram and Valanciunas. You have CJ at guard, and then, you try to get Emmanuel Quickly or Cam Reddish out of them too. Or you get a draft pick out of them. Or you get rid of some bad contracts and, you make the Knicks take on some bad contracts to take Zion, and you get a point guard in free agency. There's a lot of things that they could do if they get rid of Zion.
JJ,
That's a team that's building in the right direction even without Zion.
and I don't know, I'm not pretending to know, but I think, based on the evidence that you deduce from what we see, I believe that Zion Williamson is sending a message. I don't want to be here. I want you to get me the hell up out of here. And I think that's what that's about.
I said pattern of behavior earlier, and this is now another incident, another example of that pattern of behavior. Yes, he's never publicly come out and said, I don't want to be in New Orleans. But as we know, Stephen A., because we follow the league.
And he's very shrewd to not do so. He's keeping his image of being a good guy, and he can just say some things didn't go the way that they should have, or that both parties mutually agreed. He's going to find a way. His team's going to find a way to make this as smooth as possible, where Zion doesn't have to look like the bad guy, but Zion gets what he wants. They're playing it very shrewdly.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And you didn't hear rumors about Giannis being unhappy in Milwaukee? No, you didn't hear that. With Zion, you've heard that now for the last 3 years. And I want to be very clear on something too, by the way. You talk about me not being there. This is something I addressed with Zion in front of the team. Okay? So this is going back to his rookie year. There's a responsibility that you have as an athlete when you play a team sport to be fully invested. You're fully invested in your body, you're fully invested in your work, and you're fully invested in your teammates. That is your responsibility. And we have not seen that from Zion. Yes, he's been amazing when he's been on the court. 100%. He's amazing to watch. There's no one that can do what he does on a basketball court. There isn't. There isn't. The sheer level of force and athleticism and skill, it's amazing. 100%.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast around the rim. His finishing ability is crazy. He got so much strength. He's explosive even though he's big. I saw some pictures. He looked like he was in good shape. So I really want to see what Zion Williamson looks like when he gets back on the court.
But as a teammate, there's a pattern of behavior. As a fully invested individual in New Orleans, there is a pattern of behavior.
Yeah, well, he's not fully invested, dude. That's the problem. So you're taking it a little too personal because he didn't want to play on the team that you were on. And it just is what it is. You guys had different paths for your career. You got traded to New Orleans and you honored your contract or whatever when you could have just retired. And, you stuck through it. You got your money. It is what it is. You're not a victim in the situation. JJ Redick comes off kind of as like a victim, and he's like, I had to play for a shitty team because Zion wouldn't play with us, and or Zion was like not fully invested or playing as hard as he could have. Like, it is what it is, dude. But anyway, I'm interested to see what goes down in this situation. My prediction is that he gets traded to the New York Knicks. I would actually like to see that. I hope it happens, but we'll see. Thanks for watching.